Hi everyone, good to see you today. My name's Shaun McCran. I am the head of commerce product marketing for Europe. If you don't know, Adobe has a commerce product. we have a big stand just there talking all about it. I'm here today to talk to you about how AI services can accelerate growth for the enterprise. How do the combined topics, the combination of personalization and AI come together to drive growth in your business? It's quite a whistle-stop through a couple of different topics, but we'll look at personalization, we'll look at what we're doing in the AI space, we're looking at how we can create co-pilots that effectively drive your business forward. Take the lift off your employees, off your staff, and allow you to kind of move in a more productive way. So, Adobe does a lot of research into this space. We do a lot of industry research, a lot of looking at commerce as an industry, and you know, what it says here, shoppers seek personalized experiences. Personalization drives results. You can see this through data. We've got some customer experiences coming up, some examples of data that are actually driving tangible results through personalization activities. What does that mean, right? People want to be treated as individuals, unique people with unique aspects to their, you can see the statement here, understood, respected. They don't care about your customer experience principles, they care about the experience they live and breathe on your site. All with the aim, obviously, of transacting, right? So connecting customers to the right products, the right messaging. Some of those best-in-breed marketing principles that you're familiar with that have been around for a long time into the commerce space. The right customer, the right time, the right context. You're all shoppers yourself. Think about your own experiences. Think about how you want to be understood. You want to be in the right context, and you want to save time because the customer can see that the concept of show me, you know who I am, you know what I'm doing, you know how it works. So let's look at that in more detail, right? What is personalization? Key thing here about leveraging data, because once you start talking about artificial intelligence and generative AI, you have to start talking about data quite a lot. Data is a key concept for AI. So how do you understand the customer's intent and context? That's knowing the customer, knowing what they're doing, and delivering the right experiences at the right moment for that customer to then convert. Relevant one-to-one connections. We look at this in a kind of 4-stage data foundation. So you're probably familiar with some of these kind of stages that we look at across the customer lifecycle journey. How do you discover, or how do they discover what they're looking for through personalized communications and connections? How do they consider what they found, weigh up the pros and cons of making a purchase? How do they then actually perform that purchase? How do they go through the process? How do you connect them to the right products to purchase at the right time? Cross-sell, upsell, associated product recommendations. And then how do you expand that engagement? How do you make them a customer that comes back and repeat purchases? One-time purchases are great. Anyone can do that. But building a loyal customer base that engages on a consistent basis, that's the trick. That's what we're looking for. If we expand that a little bit and look at use cases across that, what does that look like when you start to think about the things that drive those 4 topics? And you can see along the bottom there, we've just I've added a couple of different touch points. Things you may typically see for things like personalization, testing, dynamic optimization. These should all be topics that if you're running a commerce business, you're relatively familiar with these topics as bullet points. You've probably got people in the business that own these, someone that owns site search, product recommendations, through to things like site content and banners. How do you elevate your business? At a high level, we can kind of split commerce down into how do I drive greater velocity through my shopping system? How do I drive greater merchandising value? Or how do I create my content in a more scalable, easily to consume fashion? If I'm in multiple countries, multiple storefronts, B2B and B2C, I need a robust content engine to be able to surface the right content at the right time so that I don't have massive headcount or massive difficulty in surfacing different languages, different products and different sets. Going to market quickly and finding time to value. What we'll look at today is how you can accelerate some of those things with existing systems and services and new services that are coming across Adobe Commerce. So where do we start? Data. Data is where we start. Sometimes I do a show of hands. Who loves their data ecosystem? Who's got the right data in the right place at the right time? Tends to be a disappointing show of hands. Nobody puts their hand up. People tend to go, well, I get files from a system that's 2 weeks old. Key thing with AI, if you want AI or generative AI to make decisions for you, think about how you make decisions. You make them in real time based on the most current information you have. So if you're feeding AI services, whatever they might be, Adobe ones, non-Adobe ones, with old data that has bad connectivity or doesn't have the right context, you're going to deliver experiences based on the wrong information. Let's look at how we talk about that. So If I don't know you, I can't personalize your journey. Simple as that. Again, this comes back to a concept I like to call show me, you know me. That builds loyalty, and it builds the engagement, so I can see exactly what you're doing. On one side, we don't know this chap at all. We don't know who he is, what he's doing. But there's a whole bunch of different things we should know about him that allow us to personalize this journey. You can see what they are, right? Name, cross-channel shopper, what he's doing, his interactions, his ability to interact across different things. Has he looked at different categories? Is he app-based? Is he mobile-based? Is he website-based? All of those things give us context for how we can engage with him in a more meaningful way. If we take that a bit further, we don't want to call him data. He's Rick. Let's call him Rick. He's a person, right? That's what we're doing. We're looking at people. When we look at Rick, we can look at all the different things that we know about him, right? We know where he's from, we know what he's done, and this is the sort of information that you might want to look at your existing commerce solutions and go, do we know these things about our customers? Can we target people based on this criteria? Can we look at typically what he shops for? Is he, in this case, he's a hobbyist persona. Now, at a technical level, if any of you own segmentation strategies, you can look at your segmentation strategy and go, a lot of these things will drive a segmentation plan. Segmentation's key because you might want to look at it and go, which segments does this person appear in? How do I target him offline, online? How do I drill down? Adobe likes to talk about something we call personalization at scale, which is where you go from being an anonymous person, an unknown identity, all the way through to a segment of one. And that's the utopia of segmentation for us. You are your own individual segment. I can highly target you based on all the great information I know about you. It's very difficult to get there because you need to know your customers well. You need tracking, you need information, you need a great CRM system, you need the ability to manage that data in real time or near real time. So the closer you want to get to that one-to-one segmentation, the harder it becomes. But you can drive greater value from it, and we'll look at that in a second. So all these different things we know about Rick. How do we take those things and move Rick through a journey of completely generic, so he hits our commerce site and we don't know who he is at all. He's having poor experiences, completely generic promos and offers. He has to go through all of the navigation because we can't customize anything for him. We don't know which segments he belongs to. We don't know what his previous history is. He's effectively getting a very vanilla experience where he's just trying to figure out how to get through the website. But how do we take that and turn it into highly customized experiences that focus specifically on what he's looking for, because we know what he did in the past, or we know what segments he belongs to. So how do we look at the different elements that we do know about him and say, this is typical matching customers and products together, right? How do we go products and promos that are relevant for him, recommendations? Now, this is all information we can feed into AI services that exist now that we'll have a look at that say, right, we want to create great content for Rick, sometimes on the fly, sometimes not on the fly, but we need to better match that content with what we know about him. So, generic into targeted. In this case, simple stuff. We'll start off simple, we'll get a bit more detailed. We'll get more into the cutting edge of AI. Things like A/B testing. All familiar with A/B testing, old school kind of, marketing and commerce technologies. But it's surprising how many people don't have that much of an advanced AI system behind experience-driven targeting better shoppers to find winning experiences. People used to do this all the time on websites. Right? I'm an old, mildly grey, if you get too close, developer from the mid-90s. A/B testing was one of those things we did on websites for a long time, but it hasn't really developed into the mature space it could be in a lot of commerce sites. So winning experiences is key, right? Experience A, experience B, which one gets picked up the most? From entire pages to different layouts and navigations, there are many capabilities you can look at with this that, again, rely on segmentation strategy. How did people interact? Now, you can do this manually, but with the capabilities we have in Adobe Commerce, you can do it in an entirely automated fashion, where the winning experience is the one that's promoted to becoming the default, and then you can keep evolving going forward. So we often advocate for a test and learn approach. Change one or two small elements, measure them, see which ones are winning, see which ones have a greater uptake. And we've got a stand over there, come speak to me or the team. And we've got many great examples of customers we've spoken to where they've changed the button, changed the text on a button under a product and seen a 27% uplift, for example. It's not uncommon, but it's not something that people often think about in terms of how do I personalize based on segments. So simple segmentation. This is a bit more of an example of how you can drive a richer segmentation strategy. And this, you might look at this and go, this is all basics. These are the things we live all day, every day when we're shoppers ourselves. So if you look at the idea of no shopper visit, shopper purchase history, first time offers versus win back offers versus loyal offers. So you can start to look at how do I surface the right content to people based on some pretty basic criteria. Have a think as well about your own organization. Is this the sort of information you have access to? Can you see this? Can you take your CRM system and show who's a first-time visitor, who visited once but didn't purchase, who visited once and did purchase? That kind of overlapping segmentation strategy is quite key because it allows you to drive the right messaging. And again, you've all been there, right? You land on a website you previously purchased from. If the connectivity in the data system isn't there, you land and it goes, hey, welcome to our site. Well, I've already been here, I've already purchased. I'm not feeling loyal towards you because you haven't recognized the fact I'm already a customer. So, you can see how that fits for us. Simple example, but drives extremely good results. And we've taken customers through that journey and gone, this is what it works, right? So that was segmentation. Very high level, intro into how that fits. We'll drive a little bit further into things like how do we connect customers and products together. I'm just going to check the time because I'm notoriously overrunning. When we look at the key goals of how do I connect a customer to my product set as quickly and efficiently as possible, ideally to get them off-site. Time on site isn't something we particularly want on a commerce site because it means someone is wandering around and not finding a product. So we look at a lot of efficiencies about page browsing, recommendations, and using AI services and machine learning to do things like lookalike modeling. And we'll see what that looks like. A couple of screenshots coming up. Things that are in Adobe Commerce right now that you can leverage to look at exactly how you can connect customers to products. So things like live search, right? SaaS-based search engine comes with a product, is the sort of thing where you can look at relevant search experiences, highly customizable, so you can go in there and you can apply all sorts of different filtering criteria. It's really done in a scalable fashion, so you can scale this across multiple sites with multiple criteria in the way that you go, for site 1, site 2, and site 3, I want different search criteria to drive different search results based on audiences. So if you've got different segments for different audiences in different markets, highly flexible. The thing that really want to dwell on here for a second is product recommendations. Technology is great for product recs, but the thing you really need here is an organization that knows your product set well. Because product recommendations is effectively matching products to each other and also using AI services to say that out of the last 100 people that bought product 1, they all went on to buy product 2 or certain percentages. And there's a machine learning algorithm behind that that will show you exactly what your customers are buying and what the next recommended best product is. And it's up to you to give that as much space as you want it to or not. If you completely trust that AI service, it will happily build a recommendations architecture for you, and all of your products will start getting fed other products from your catalog set. You can, I view it as a slider, depends on how much you trust the service, but you can always override that. So if you've got 20,000 of product Z in your warehouse, you can push that into the recommendation and make sure that's first and foremost, because you might want to shape that yourself, right? So that's one of the things we do, right? Adobe calls it co-piloting. The AI services will co-pilot your existing members of your staff, your employees that own that space. They will allow them to drive greater productivity, but they'll also allow them to override those services where there's a need. Either you're running a promotion, it's seasonal, you've got other factors involved that mean you want to drive additional products into that space. And again, visual merchandising, right? How do you show the right things on your product display pages that will engage a customer? What are the things people are interacting with? And this is almost an A/B test type of thing you can do here as well, in the way that we've set it up in a way that you can actually display the same product in multiple variations and see who engages as what. So you can look at that product display, in this case it's a handbag with certain criteria underneath, and you can monitor what do they view. Is there a cursor interaction across different elements? Is the image the right image? If I've got 3 versions of the same one, which one is clicked on more? And again, it becomes a winning product display that then becomes the default product on a product display page. So it's a learning process, and it will show you that quite happily in the back end. I've got 4 variations on the same product. Number 1 doesn't get any click-throughs, number 2 gets 25%. So it allows you to look at your visual merchandising and go, what is it about this product or this version that is drawing customers? So it's a learning algorithm that fits behind that. Very interesting way of pushing your products forward. Doesn't require IT. These are all out-of-the-box back-end services that allow you to then go, actually, my business users can manage this. Don't need to build this, it's right there, right? Get a bit more into the AI side of things. All heard of Firefly? Adobe Firefly? Big thing, we went into beta beginning of this year. Firefly is an image generation system. So you can go in and give it a prompt, show me a mountain range with 2 cyclists in front of it, cycling, wearing brand X equipment. It will generate that image for you on the fly. It's a bit like ChatGPT, but for images. It's an easy way to describe it. You'll see a couple of screenshots of where we've integrated that into some of our Adobe products. So the idea is these are all off-site services. You can go to firefly.adobe.com and you can type in a prompt. You don't really want that. That's not a joined-up experience. So what we're doing is we're integrating that into Adobe Commerce, and you'll see a screenshot of that coming up, which means you can effectively take a product set. I've got a jacket, and I want that jacket in front of a certain background, or a certain location, or a certain scenario. So the ability to take products and seed them into Firefly to create multiple images of the same product, but in multiple scenarios. We'll bring that to life in a second. Coming in this release in October, AI-driven categories. What are the categories that are winning on your site? If someone comes from off-site paid advertising from a marketing campaign, did they click through on an advert or paid service that is related to a certain category on your site? How do you reorganize those categories on your site in an intelligent driven way so that customers are interacting with the right category at the right time? This is just reorganizing your site to fit the customer journey more closely. Now this is getting to the point where you're effectively rewiring parts of the website on the fly based on the previous interactions the customer has had. Because you know the customer, you know why they've clicked through, you're landing them in the right place and you're showing them the categories they're most interested in based on behavior. Again, sliding scale of let the platform do that for me, or actually I want to dictate exactly which categories fit where and how. So super interesting kind of way of navigating. Also comes into loyalty quite nicely. If you know someone is a loyal customer on certain brands, certain types of category, you can reorder those based on loyalty status. So again, comes together with segmentation. Yeah, again, all reliant on data. The content creation one, it's a very small screenshot, I appreciate. Typical stuff you've seen in the field for the last couple of months, but integrated tightly into the system we've got. So I start creating content for a product description. I think it's pretty good. I've done a reasonably good job. I'm a decent author. I can create a sentence. But there's options on the left-hand side there, some of you at the front may better see it, about I want to change the tone of voice. I want to make it more personal. I want to make it more friendly. Maybe I want to change the dynamic of the sentence. And that will go off, hit our Sensei AI services, rewrite that product content on the fly, and bring back the version at the bottom, which is highlighted there. Now you can still overtype that, you can still edit it, but it's all about content velocity. And how do you create consistent content across all your product descriptions? This is an automated process. That screenshot is one screen, but you can run an entire category through that. So I've got 1,500 products in one category. I want to generate product descriptions for all of them. I want keywords in there. I always use diamonds because it's easy to understand. There's 4 C's with diamonds, the character, quality, I'm not going to go through all 4 of them, but you can have them as the primary focus of that point, right? What are the key elements of each product that are the things that customers look for in that product description? So it's all about content creation, and again, connecting the customer to the product in the most easy, seamless fashion. AI services. These are all in the product and being used by customers now in real time. So, if you're often in a store and you think, I like that piece of furniture, I like that TV, I like that wall hanging, what does it look like in my environment? Just bring it to life. These are AI-generated living spaces. Yeah. It's the sort of thing where you can, typically what you're trying to do again is take away the imagination that customers have in the way that you do go into a large retail store and you look at pieces of furniture. In this case, this is actually something we built out for a French manufacturer that's in 16 different countries around Europe. They often say, we want a virtual architect. How do we architect the room? Well, what we've done here is taken their product set and everything's nicely tagged up with colors and schemes and all the meta information. We can generate you a room on the fly based on their products. And you can choose products that are in stock, products that aren't in stock. But effectively, when someone says, I've got a brand new room in a house, I want it to look like a grey living space with a table and bits and pieces, bang, this will select the products, put them in there, and you can tailor this. These are all 3-dimensional images that you can manipulate on the site and move around. And they're all from the product catalog. So it's all about building that immersive shopper experience. Part of 3D rendering. Adobe has a big history in Creative Cloud, Photoshop, Lightroom, Substance, all those things. We're bringing those capabilities into Commerce, so you can manage 3-dimensional objects in a much more straightforward way. You should see that in a second as well. How do I look at generating images in Firefly via Adobe Commerce? Can't really see the image at the bottom. You'll see that more in a second. There's a prompt. So again, you don't have to go to Firefly, generate your prompt. The prompt is actually within the application. You go through and you start writing what I'm looking for. If you can imagine a scenario where you're a clothing reseller and you normally fly to the Swiss Alps 4 times a year to do 4 seasonal campaigns. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of expense, it's very difficult. How do you get around that? Well, you can generate those images by creating specific prompts around how do I want to see those products. So if we move through this, you'll effectively see the same product image 4 times. One with a generic white background, and then 3 others with variations on a background based on geolocation. So what we've done, because we've got Adobe Stock, which is a massive database full of stock images, we're able to go away and look at what does that landscape look like in those locations. How do we generate an image that fits that? So you can connect the customer with the right location. And this is all about segment matching to products. If I live in a location where it's rocky and mountainous, I'm much more likely to buy that product because you just put me in the product in my own location. And again, that's where we're talking to some of the customers, for example, with clothing ranges that don't want to necessarily do 4 seasonal shoots. Now I can generate my entire year's worth of campaign in front of the same mountain range because we've got the imagery, and I can change the season on the fly. So it starts to make serious impact on costs, reductions, marketing. How does that work? There isn't a shot of it in here, but the next step from that is whole categories. Again, you can do that, you can take that process and you can generate for the entire category of products. So if you're interested, come and have a chat at the podium. I've got a video on this whole thing and how it works. But you can then say, right, I've got, in this case, sweaters, a dance jacket, got 1,200 of those in the category, generate me background images for all of them. And that's why we call it content velocity, content at scale. Yeah? This isn't a manual process, happens for you. Absolutely. So the question was, can that be personalized by region? And in this example, with a geo-based, that's exactly what this is for. When someone, in this case, I'm a female shopper, I hit the site, and I know, for example, the right-hand one is a Utah image, Utah from the United States. If my segment dictates I'm from Utah, it's going to give me a product image with a Utah-based background. So I'm connecting geolocation based on segment, which is why we started off the session about segmentation strategy. All relies on segments and how it fits together. So it's generating content based on the segments you know. Oh, okay.
Another quick question as well. If we've got, say, a few products in our catalogue that don't have images,
yeah,
can we set up rules that will generate an image for us, just place it there?
Yes. So there was a question around if we have products in the catalogue that don't have images, there is another element to this which is entirely generating an image on the fly, including the person and the face. We've also extended into creating avatars of yourself. So you can upload yourself and you become part of the image. I didn't want to show that because honestly the faces are kind of horrible and you don't want to look at those faces, but that's the process you're doing. You can generate you as a person inside this. There's a whole thing about PII data and how do you obfuscate the fact you've now given me your personal image, but you can effectively put yourself into the product image, which is an interesting angle. Not really sure if that's going to drive business right now, to be honest. We're not really sure if people are looking to be the product. But we're testing and learning on that because we do the same. So when we look across those 4 touch points we had earlier, from discover, consider, purchase, and expand, you can see how we've effectively been driving content creation, product descriptions, product imagery, and AI and machine learning services across our entire stack to drive off-site campaigns into site experiences with checkout. And then we go back into expansion and loyalty, right? How do we make sure that that's a loyal circle? Someone's had a great experience, you remarket to them, you bring them back on site, you build that engaged audience segment. And as soon as you get them re-engaged, your segmentation gets so much richer because they're a repeat customer. You can see some statistics along the bottom. These are all real statistics. I spent half my life interviewing customers. 78% are more likely to refer friends and family during discovery, right? It's all about that journey. You can see how they fit together. There's a couple more statistics coming up in a second. Double digit, right? Haley Hansen, Sazerac, Rite Aid. We're a global organization, so some of these are global customers. You might think, well, they're not regional, European-wise, but they're customers we've worked with to drive these principles to see the uplift. Because we build the product based on feedback from the customer, and then we roll it out to the customer and see how does it scale? How is it impacting their business, right? So things like buy now, pick up in store, personalized journey. That's very much about personalizing using AI. How do you connect digital experiences and retail experiences? Many customers in Europe right now doing that because it helps against shipping costs, right? Cost of shipping is expensive, bring them back into the store. Great opportunity to cross-sell. Buy now, pick up in store, right? A couple of others. Catbird, bulk powders, Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme, right? We gave people the ability to customize their own tray of a dozen donuts. It drove revenue by 20% because it turns out people want to customize trays of donuts. Could never do it before. Simple concept. I don't want generic trays. I want exactly the dozen donuts I want. And now the ability to effectively drag and drop and configure your own thing using AI and recommendations, because they've got 35 different types of donut and 10 of them are the top sellers. You can show that information. You can see that quite quickly and easily. So it's the ability to give experience-based experiences to your customers. That's how it works. I think we are, I don't know if I get it chased off. We're all good. So key takeaways, I would say, based on this. Look at your data. You want to use AI, that's great, but you need data, and you need the cleanest, most current data you can get. Because you wouldn't buy a car today based on last month's information yourself. It's a fallacy to think that you can make decisions based on old data. Your personalization will hit the wrong target. The most current data. Doesn't have to be real time. Everyone aims for the utopia of real time. Just as current as you can get. Data powers your personalization and AI. Make sure it's clean, right? Make sure you've got good data quality. Hard task, I know, not very exciting, not the sexiest of topic, clean data, but it's relevant. Test and learn, right? All the things I've shown you today are available, and they don't require a great deal of effort to get into. You won't hit massive results on day one, but take a bite-sized chunk, give it a try, implement one or two of those things, see how it works. A/B testing in particular, continual journey. You might see gradual improvements over a little bit of time, but it will continuously keep improving. Don't be afraid to give it a try. Often inertia is the thing that stops us moving forward in this space. So just jump in, have a go. Yeah? Don't forget the operational change on this. Take the people with you if you lead a business unit or a team. AI can be a scary topic. Everyone thinks it's going to take our jobs. It's not going to take your job. It's going to accelerate how you do your job. It's a co-pilot. It assists you to move more clearly. The messaging around that is very much takes away the heavy lifting. All the day-to-day stuff you don't really enjoy doing, AI will do that for you. It allows you to free your brain and do the strategic stuff. Really focus on the outcomes. And then use that technology, drive your sales. All of that was great and interesting as an AI thing. What it really does is it sells products. So don't forget the key goal at the end of the day. We're trying to shift product from the site, and it's all about connecting customers in the right way to the right product as quickly and easily as possible. That's I'll leave them there. You're welcome to head off. If you've got any questions, we do have a booth. We've got a full team. Come and talk to us about Adobe Commerce. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.